A drill bit of just 1 MD is enough to puncture a man's eardrum, yet he stubbornly chose to wager a full 10 millimeters. This instantly exhilarated the old man sitting across from him. While a single win could net him $1 million, a loss means sacrificing his precious sense of hearing. Who would have thought that such a high-stakes game stems from 3 simple cards? These are the citizen, the emperor, and the slave. The emperor beats the citizen beats the slave, and the slave beats the emperor, a cycle of mutual restraint. First, both sides select a deck to form their hand. These are the emperor deck and the slave deck. The emperor's side aims to ensure his survival, while the slave side must deduce when the opponent will play the emperor, to seize the moment and strike him down with a slave card. Ultimately, it is a pure game of psychological warfare. However, in this particular game, the slave side is at a disadvantage as the emperor has an 80 chance of victory. The slave only has a 20 chance to counter-kill the emperor. In the face of such an overwhelming disparity, the payout ratio for the slave side is over 5 times that of the emperor. If you want to strike it rich, this high-risk, high-reward bet is the way. However, Kaiji doesn't have a single cent to his name. To this, Tonegawa suggests he use his organs as chips.
Wait, what?
And his henchmen brought out an instrument of torture. By simply operating a remote control, the drill bit will steadily advance toward the eyeball or eardrum. Tonegawa set a 30mm stake for Kaiji. Winning 1mm earns him 100-0, otherwise the drill tip will ruthlessly bore deeper. Yet Kaiji only needs to wager 1mm at a time. Even if he loses all 20 matches, the cumulative risk is a mere 2 centimeters. Thus, as long as he keeps his inner greed in check, would remain in an entirely invincible position. But as a desperate gambler, Kaiji has long been blinded by the prospect of immense wealth. How could he ever be satisfied with such a meager pittance? What's more, these elites, flaunting their stinking wealth, refuse to treat gamblers as human beings. He's determined to make them pay a heavy price. Driven by a frenzied obsession with victory, Kaiji resolutely wagered his own ear as a stake. Even more unbelievable is that he wagered 10mm in the very first round. Next, Kaiji chose the emperor deck for his hand. After a moment of thought, he placed the card face down on the table. As both players' cards were slowly revealed, the first round ended in a draw.
This is the moment Tonegawa's cold calculation.
No one expected Kaiji to win the first round so smoothly, earning himself 1 million in winnings at the same time. This fortune, which once seemed so far out of reach, was now easily acquired in just 10 seconds. Kaiji's heart surged with irrepressible excitement and ecstasy. Thus, without hesitation, he chose to wager another 10mm in the second round, and the situation unfolded exactly as he had anticipated. In the first bout, both sides played citizens to test the waters. In the second bout, Kaiji once again played the emperor in the same fashion and successfully won the game once more. Buoyed by 2 consecutive victories, Kaiji's ego began to swell. He felt that the game was actually quite simple.
Through the events described above, we find that this game of emperor and slave is a direct mapping of social classes.
Tonegawa represents the emperor possessing all resources and control, while Kaiji is the slave forced to use his own body as a bargaining chip. The rules of the game themselves symbolize the skew of the social structure where the strong dictate the rules. The weak can only seek a sliver of hope amid staggering risks. Tonegawa's most formidable weapon is not the unfairness of the rules, but his ruthless exploitation of human greed. First baits Kaiji with minor wins, letting him taste the thrill of dominance, only to goad him into raising the stakes until he falls into an inescapable abyss. Kaiji believes he is challenging the rules, unaware that he is stepping into a psychological cage tailored specifically for him. Kaiji's struggle is the ultimate portrayal of a man pushed to the brink. He loathes the injustice, yet he must rely on this rigged system to redeem himself. His very victory marks the beginning of his destruction. The true purpose of this showdown isn't to let Kaiji win money, but to shatter his naive illusions and force him in the depths of despair, to either succumb completely or unleash a will and wisdom that transcends the gamble itself.